I was talking to one of my mastermind clients today through Voxer, which is the platform I use for like DMing my one-on-one clients. And she just sent me a voice note and she asked me, "Hey, Amy, I have this friend whose business is solely running on ads. She's not really organically active on Instagram. Do you think it can be done to just build my business without my face, solely through ads, without having to make organic content? And like, what's your take on this?" So we had a whole conversation about it and I shared some of my own insights about that with her. And I thought, well, I think this is a question many of us have. Do we need to show our face in order to grow? Do we need to post organic content? Do we always need to be online and show our personal life if we want to build a business through socials? Or can it be done without our face or without showing our personal life or just with ads? So in today's episode, I'm just going to share a couple of insights on this. I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm just going to share with you what my thoughts and evolution has been on thinking about all of this. Let's dive in.
Hello, and welcome to Fail to Win, a show where we love to make mistakes and learn from them so you can turn your passion into profits and live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van der Putten from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday.
I think the biggest pain right now in the online industry is that not if we're looking at the greats in the industry, but many of us, smaller business owners, we feel like in order to run a profitable business, it means that we need to be showing up online all the time. And I think it's wearing all of us down. I don't necessarily feel like this anymore, so I want to share with you the shifts I've been having about this, but I see that a lot of people are struggling with this, so I'm going to share with you just some insights I've had throughout the last couple of years and how this has changed for me. And I really think this is a really valuable episode. I don't have a script. I'm just going to run you through some of the things. And so what I think you might be experiencing, and many of us are experiencing, is that if you look at the 1950s, for example, I'm not saying we want to go back there. It was definitely not the best time for like women's rights and all of that. I think we get to be grateful for where we are today. And I think that there are a couple of things that we all kind of like yearn for. For example, when in the 1950s, you didn't have to worry about, am I going to get my steps in? Because maybe you just didn't have a car, so you got your steps in because you did your groceries by foot, or because you were doing your household all day and you weren't working. And I think both women and men, like there was a lot less processed foods. We moved more, we were outside more. And when we finished work, or when our husband came home from work, this is going to sound really weird coming from me, but bear with me in this story. You were done. You weren't really, like, no one reached you. Yeah, maybe you got a phone call, but that would have been for like a really, really big dramatic thing. Maybe someone would show it up your doorstep, but if you didn't make any plans, you were home with your family and you were just home. And the next day you had to leave the house, take the subway, go into the city for your job or your business, and the entire thing would start all over again. But there was a very clear disconnect between your personal life and your work. And whenever I talk about this, by the way, I have to think about Mad Men. I love that show, but I don't think we would want all of that. I mean, in that TV show, there's a lot of cheating, drinking, all of that stuff. I'm not referring to any of that. I'm also not saying it's better, but you see how we are not made as humans today to come home and to scroll and to get WhatsApp notifications and to go to bed and not talk to our spouse, but be scrolling through Instagram. And the first thing we do in the morning when we wake up is look at TikTok and all of that. Like, our brains are just not made to be on such a dopamine high all the time. I think you and I agree on that. It's exhausting to be on all the time, and we deserve to be offline a bit more. But how do we do that with an online business, with an online brand? Do we show our face? Yes or no? Do we rely on ads? Yes or no? Do we show our personal life? Yes or no? These are some things I want to talk about today. So I think first and foremost, so the question my client asked me was, do you think in today's day and age, I could be running a business like I have right now, but without my face and solely through ads? And it can be done. After all, there are a lot of big company brands that run through ads that don't have the founder's face on the, on the brand. After all, like, do we know who the founder of Nespresso is? No. And my thought on this is that actually it's kind of like a luxury thing to be thinking about. And I fell into this as well a year ago. And sometimes I feel myself going back to that because there's a lot of people online really preaching the whole, you shouldn't be online all the time and you don't have to build it with your face. And a lot of people don't want to build it with their face. But my take on this has really changed. Yes, I think it can be done. And I think it's a luxury problem if it's really working well with your face. So I'm in this space or phase right now in my life where I'm like, I don't need to be online all the time. I can batch my content. And I figure ways out to create organic content that goes well organically and that can do well with ads. That doesn't require me to be online all the time. But if it's working well with my face and I'm good out on camera, for example, and people trust my face and they buy things from me and my brand grows, that's a really good fucking problem to have. And I think we kind of obsess about some brands we know where we're like, oh, yeah, but I really don't want it to be my face anymore. But is that what you're saying? Or might it be that we just require some offline time and maybe we don't mind it being our face because after all, the chef of a restaurant also has a face and he's also famous. I think we worry more about the whole, will we have to pull the cart always? Will we have to show our personal life? Will we have to have our phone on hand all the time? Or can we take time off? So what I did, for example, in December, January, I was gone for a month and we had content that did have my face on it, but that was posted and planned in. Ads were running and I was still getting sales in while not being online necessarily, while not pushing anything through my stories. But it did have my face on it because it just works well. So I think if you're worried about your face, I think for a lot of beginners, they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. My take on it is you can do it without. But for most people, I'm like, if it works so well with your face, why not just get over yourself and look at that as being incredible? I think it's incredible that we live in a day and age where we get to take our phone, create a video, create content, and that gets us leads and sales instead of having to, make flyers, go door to door, run really expensive ads. So I really look at that as being, that's a really good problem to have. If you're looking to scale away from building with your face, amazing. Do it step by step, build a company brand that's not like your personal brand. And don't run before you can walk is what I would say. I think I was in a phase in my life where I was really, everyone was telling me, oh, the brand needs to be independent from you. The brand needs to be independent from you. And I'm like, okay. And I forgot about the fact how
Hey, just a quick break because I have something for you. If you're here and you've been listening for a while, you probably noticed that somewhere along the way, I kind of started changing the angle of my episodes. I stopped talking about how to start your business and started talking more about how to scale your business, how to lead, how to make more money independent from your time. And along with that, I have been talking more and more to CEOs, not just beginners anymore, although I love coaching those. I've silently been reshaping this podcast to really be the buddy for any ambitious CEO who's, starting to lead a team, who's having to deal with mistakes, and also who's bumping into their own nervous system. And this is also exactly what I have been adding in my product suite, because 2 years ago, I decided to start one-on-one coaching again, and I opened up a high-level mastermind, including one-on-one coaching and 6 monthly retreats. And currently, I am back to enrolling new members because I only choose a couple of people a year to work with so we can scale their business to 1 million and beyond. And right now, I have some capacity opening up to enroll a few more masterminders and to go on a retreat together. So if you've been listening, you're like, well, I do multi-six figures, I like online marketing, I'd love to scale, and I'd love to have Amy as my personal business coach. I would love to see if we get to work together. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and apply so we can chat and see if this is a fit, which goes both ways, obviously. So either go to the link in the description of this episode or just go to Instagram and message me mastermind and I'll personally message you. It's not automated, and let's chat and set up an intake call. Okay, talk soon.
grateful I should have been for the fact that it was working so well being dependent on me, and that a lot in the business isn't dependent on me, but I'm really good at marketing. So I think just don't forget to be grateful for the fact that it might be working with your face. And if you do want to build it without your face, make a step-by-step plan, involve a strategist who can help you lay out the foundations, but don't run before you can walk. If your business is currently being built, just be grateful for the fact that it's working, because a lot of people try to build a business and the brand and it doesn't work. And one of the things that really helps me is batching content. So I am creating a series of entrepreneur hacks. I have a lot of content that has my voice but doesn't require me to be on camera. This podcast, for example, I'm just recording this without video. It doesn't always have to be your face. For me, it's often just my voice, voiceovers. I just have a folder with content that I can just put my voice on. For example, this podcast, when I'm promoting it, I just do it in one go. I create a couple of podcasts, then I look at my weekly way of promoting it. I know I need an email. I know I need a teaser reel. So these last couple of weeks, I just tested out a voiceover on a couple of images on my socials. It went live. I batched it all. I don't have to be online to promote my podcasts. In my other brand as well, I batch 2 days of recordings once a quarter. And aside from an occasional voice note or an occasional approval of descriptions and titles, I'm not doing any of it. We generate our transcripts, the copy gets written, the snippets gets chosen. Like each episode has 3 to 5 video clips that we take out of it. All of it gets planned in. A VA creates the collaborator posts. Yeah, my face is on there, but I'm barely on the Instagram page of the brand. So it can be done, trust me. Now, if we look at ads, that was also part of the question is, should I be running it solely through ads, and do I just let go of organic? I kind of have the same opinion on there, and it ties into also being dependent on ads. I think everyone who's been running ads in the past 2 years, we noticed a big shift. A lot of things changed. I think many people lost their ads, like campaigns that all of a sudden weren't working anymore, or rules changed. Like so many things shifted, and I do believe in diversifying your risk. So I think ads are really great. If you have a solid base, then adding ads on top of that can really, really scale your business. I'm currently doing that. I have one really good funnel with a webinar. We have ads running on them that have my face. Some of them are carousel static ads, and some of them have videos of me, like 12-second videos even. They're doing really well, and we aim to scale that. And I really love that, because it means that even when I'm in Mykonos with my friends next week, I get to just be, reeling in sales. And yes, it's my face, but it doesn't mean I'm online. So that's a shift we want to be making. Do I want to be solely scaling on ads? No. I will always choose to also have an organic layer that is batched, that doesn't require me to be in the moment all the time. But I really enjoy the fact that I'm not solely focused on ads. So the way my team and I are doing this is literally I'm responsible for organic growth, and my team member, my marketing manager, is responsible for the ads. And we literally create a battle, and we are both pulling in leads in different ways. She's pulling in leads by scaling the ads. I'm pulling in leads by creating growth content. So we just have both of those. So if one of those goes away, we can always fall back on another one. So can you scale with ads? Yes, but I would never only rely on ads, to be honest, because I think that's very fickle. Of course, also there you get to diversify, because I work a lot with social media, but it doesn't mean that social media is the only way you get to build your business. You can also create attraction content, for example, through your blog. SEO is still alive and happening. I was just Googling something before I recorded this episode, and I Googled it, and the second website that showed up is a website by a good friend of mine, Christina Galbado. She's also been on the podcast, research it, and she's very big on blogging. She's very big on SEO, and it's working really well for her. I think what's really important to remember here is that it's not about Instagram. It's not about ads or not. What we're talking about right now is how do we attract our ideal audience? And if you look at what's behind the scenes of this, if you want to build a business that goes to 6, 7, 8 figures, I've built a method, and it's called my anchor method, and I'm willing to share a piece of you with it. What we need to realize is that if we want to grow, we need to always be bringing in new leads. It doesn't really matter if you do that by flying over a plane over a village and like directing people to a website, or if you're flyering, or if you're doing it on TikTok, or with ads on the platforms we're talking about, or on Instagram, organic or with ads. It's just about how are we constantly attracting new leads? And that's just the first step of the million method. So if you want access to my million method, by the way, I recorded this a couple of months ago. I was in a session with a client of mine, a one-on-one session, and she walked into my office and she's like, I was like, okay, so what do you want to accomplish? And she said, I want to stop working evenings. I want more time with my kids, and I want to be making more independent of my time. So I showed her my million method. We went through it, and ever since she's been working on that, and she's been having more time with her kids. She's been scaling, and if you want access to it too, you can just go to my Instagram to FastForwardAmy and text me the word method, or you just go to the link that I've included in this episode, which is fastforwardamy.com/access million. If I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna double check it. Yeah, I was right. By this point in time, I kind of know all of the links. So that's fastforwardamy.com/access million. The training is not long. You can just watch it. And I hope you really get some insights from it on how to build your business like a really good funnel and how to always be attracting people regardless of the platform you're choosing. So if probably you agree with this, it's good to diversify your risk. Do you need ads? No, you can perfectly start without them. Can you do it without organic content? I would personally not do that because I like to diversify my risk. But I do think that a lot of people are really focused on stories, but stories die within 24 hours. So I wouldn't necessarily focus on stories. If you look at the really greats in the world, they are always making long-form content. So if you're struggling with the whole, but it feels like I'm creating content every day, I'm never ahead, I would urge you to look at long-form content that stays alive longer. Think blogging, think YouTube, think reels that live longer. I think in general, we just don't want to spend 2 hours of our day on content that disappears after 24 hours. So really shift your focus to longer form content and content that stays alive longer and that does well in search algorithms. That's really going to help the longevity of building your business. And then I think that ties into, should we show our personal life? Yes or no? I'm lucky enough to have had in my personal brand, it has been easy to show some parts of my personal life because some people in my environment also have personal brands. For example, my brother Matthew has a really big YouTube channel, big Instagram page with 110,000 followers. My best friend is also very much on Instagram. And even my dad, we co-created a podcast. He has a personal brand. So in terms of what I show in my personal life, for me, it's been really easy to show those people because they have their own brands. Whereas I don't think a lot of people know what my mom looks like. She doesn't mind being on socials, but she also doesn't necessarily need to be on socials. My boyfriend actually really likes being on my socials. I think that has to do with the fact that he likes other people to know I have a boyfriend, which I think is cute. But it doesn't mean that everyone knows everything about my life. Granted, I have been sharing a lot over these past couple of years. But my friend Jessica kind of also calls this the Draco Malfoy effect. I can't remember the statistics she quoted, but I think in all of the Harry Potter movies, Draco Malfoy is only in like maybe 10% of it. Very, very little. Yet almost all of us know who he is. So that goes to show that you don't need to show something a lot in order for it to be something people recognize. And what you can do with this for your personal brand is you don't need to show your entire personal life. But yes, if you have a personal brand, people do like knowing who you are and like kind of what's going on in your life. So the way I do this with my clients is we choose a couple of things. I have, for example, values, beliefs, events, and people. So, and also another one is attributes. So I'm going to just walk you through these 5 things that you could just like write down and have a look at if you want to build a brand that makes people feel like they know you without you having to be online all the time or without you actually sharing 99% of your life, because this is just marketing. Does that mean I lie in my marketing? No, but I choose to highlight certain events. So the way I do this is I look at all of these pillars and I have about 3 for each. So values. One of my big values, for example, is family. So sometimes I'll go to dinner with my parents and I'll take a photo of the table. I won't be posting it in real time. I almost never post in real time. I think this is something people don't realize because usually my phone is in my bag. Sometimes I'll just take it out, take a photo, put it away. Sometimes I use the content, sometimes I won't. But the way I do it is, for example, the next morning, I might be on my treadmill and I might be like, oh, last night I had such a wonderful dinner with my parents. I was offline. We had really nice food. It helps that I have something that I can show. Obviously, a photo with my parents is nice, but I don't always feel like posting them online. And just a picture of the table is basically like proof enough to include people in what I was doing. If I then also highlight like family time is so important to me, I was offline, and this is the only photo I took. That actually highlights a value, which makes people feel like they get to know me without me posting my parents' house online, for example, because I would never do that. Then an example of a belief could be, I've made a couple of pieces of content lately about not settling. So I'm like, you don't have to compromise in relationships, for example, because a lot of people ask me like, oh, how did you find a boyfriend who's not intimidated, la la la. And so sometimes when I create content about my boyfriends, I talk about how you shouldn't compromise and how you should never settle for someone who makes you feel like you need to be smaller. Something else I talk about is fear of failure, failing to win, perfectly imperfect. That's like all one of my beliefs is you need to fail in order to win. Hence the name of my podcast. So I talk about that belief. That belief is something that makes people connect to me because either they agree or they shift because of that belief, or they might disagree, but they really know what I stand for. In none of this did I show myself in my underwear or my entire family or even my entire house. People think they know what my house looks like, but they actually don't. I've never consciously shown the entire outside of the house, for example. Lately, I've chosen to show smaller pieces of the outside, but before that, I'd never shown the outside of my house, yet people knew I lived in a really nice house because I always showed like my marble staircase. So my marble staircase is one of the things I'll show, but my bedroom is something that would rarely be posted online, for example. So values, write down 3 of your values. Sustainability could be a value, for example. For me, freedom is one of my values, so I'll highlight that when I'm traveling. Beliefs, for example, never settling, fail to win for me. And then another one is, for example, events. So an event could be, last year I went on a huge health journey. For me, my health journey is an event that's basically ongoing. Having a baby could be an event. Moving could be an event. That's just one piece of your life that people really like to follow along on. And because there's a storyline there, they feel like they really know you, although you have a bunch of other stuff going on as well. For me right now, I'm kind of redecorating some stuff in my house, so I might highlight that as an event. And then people, you get to choose with people. Maybe you don't want to show anyone in your life. That's perfectly fine. Maybe you don't want to show your kids' faces. Also fine. For me, as I said, I'm grateful that my boyfriend doesn't mind / likes being on my Instagram. My dad already has a brand and we often drive rallies together, which is a combination of a lot of my values. Family events could be driving a rally. People that I show is then my dad. And then last but not least, the 5th pillar that you could brainstorm about and then just like choose from is attributes. Attributes is also something my friend Jessica and we kind of developed it. It's like attributes, but it's about you. And so my cat, Billy, is one of my attributes. I will often show my cat. That's not for growth content or anything, but my cat is something that people tie to me. For me, it used to also be wine. I drank a lot of wine and people really linked wine to me. It will be the typical thing. It doesn't have to do with your business, but it's something very, very typical you, and people might have the same thing. So for example, I really love notebooks, and I could be talking about notebooks all the time. And a lot of people love notebooks. Like a lot of people have a cat or a dog or just a pet in general, and they would relate to me having a pet. So values, beliefs, events, people, and attributes are really easy ways that you get to batch content about, you get to batch footage about, you get to choose what you show and don't choose. And what you can also do is you then take that and put it into a weekly plan. So you can just be like, okay, so I don't want to always be showing all of my personal stuff, but once a week, I'll make a post on Saturday, for example, And you don't have to make it that Saturday. You could plan it in during the week and it could be a post from last Saturday. Nothing has to be in real time. I want to repeat that. And you can be like, oh, about the event because you went shopping for redecoration of the house or you celebrated your anniversary. Like, you get to just choose what are the personal things you show, and chances are it's really going to help you to connect with your audience, to put some personal stuff into it without you having to be on your phone. So big mindset shifts. You don't have to show your personal life in its entirety in order to have a personal brand. You don't have to be online in real time and posting in real time. Yes, you can run ads, but why be such a, don't forget to be grateful about the fact that it works organically, and don't forget to diversify your risk, and don't run before you walk. Yeah, we can build a company brand, but how amazing is it that we live in a world where you get to build a brand with your face and it just works, and we can do it on a platform that we get to use it for free. I think that's all pretty fucking amazing. If you're listening to this and you're someone who's currently scaling towards 7 figures, I don't know if you've seen this, but I have a mastermind. It's called the Self-Made Millionaire Mastermind. And I am currently planning to close the last couple of spots. So I have 4 spots left in my mastermind. And in a couple of months, we're going on another really nice retreat, a couple of days. We're going to be talking all about scaling. It's somewhere in Europe in a sunny location. I won't reveal yet where it is. And if you are someone who's doing multi-6 figures right now, and you're like, oh, Amy, I like your style of teaching, I would love to learn how to grow according to the millionaire methods. I want to, I want to work hard on my future, but I also don't want to die while doing it. Feel free to just DM me millionaire on Instagram and let's chat. Maybe you're a fit. We'll work with an application form, intake call. We just get to chat. The requirements are that you're already doing multi-6 figures. You are working online, so it gets to be hybrid. Maybe a part of your business is offline, that's fine. But I want to work with a couple of people who want to reach 1 million in the next year, 2 years, and who are already doing multi-6 figures and who are very big on online entrepreneurship. So if you're one of those last few people that I want to welcome this year, just shoot me a DM that says millionaire, and maybe we get to work together this year. Bye. You want to make money on Instagram, but you're not exactly sure what you actually need in order to make that happen. Chances are you're creating content and you're trying different things, but it seems to not really click together, and you're wondering why those other people are getting in all of those sales, but you aren't. Well, in reality, even if you're only selling for 30 euros every day, that's an extra 1,000 a month if you can make it work. But so many people actually can't because they don't see the full picture and they are missing one key element. That's why I've made the Instagram income map for my clients, which is a PDF workbook that you can go through in 1 hour. You'll discover the 8 building blocks that determine whether you just attract clients on Instagram or just talk about sales, or that you can actually go from attracting clients to getting in sales every single day. And I want that for you. So you can go and grab the workbook now, available for only 27 euros for a limited time. Go to fastforwardamy.com/income map and I'll send it over to you instantly, or click the link in the description of this episode.